Today I'm on my way to Uyuni from La Paz. I've been on the road for about 6 hours and I've got 1 hour left to go. I'll arrive there about 4:30. Today I was able to get gas quite easily from the more rural gas stations. Didn't have any problem. But yesterday when I was coming back from Death Road, I went to get fuel and I stopped at 7 gas stations before they would sell me fuel. At the 7th one, I had about 20 kilometers left range on my bike. And so I said, no, I'm not leaving until I get fuel, because they refused it too. And so the young lad tried to tell me, nope, no fuel for you. I said, no, I'm not moving my bike until I get fuel. So we went back and forth for a little bit, and then he went away, and then he went and talked to another guy, and the other guy came and talked to me, and he said, nope, no fuel. I said, nope, you have to give me fuel, because I'm not leaving until I get fuel, because I've only got 20 kilometers left range, and I was going to sit there rather than sit on the side of the road somewhere out of fuel. So back and forth a little bit more, and then finally he said okay, and he filled my tank with fuel, and I paid him, and I was on my way. So I did a little research and found out that well, I knew this already, that the Bolivians subsidize their nationals with gas. They pay about 1/3 of what we pay, which is fine. I don't care. I don't care what I pay as long as I get gas. So today, when I was riding, I had to stop at a couple small towns and there was no problem getting gas. I don't know why they were being such jerks about it in El Alto and La Paz. Now I am in a little town about 100 kilometers short of Uyuni, and I have to get fuel, but there is no gas station. But I have found fuel. And I'll show you where it is. So I did know there was fuel in town. I was looking for a gas station, but I couldn't see one, and I was just about to exit. I thought, well, there's got to be gas somewhere. And I looked over and I saw this little sign that says gasolina right there. So I'm going to go see what I can find. Hello! There's our gasoline lady right there. Thank you, my friend. No, here.
Aquí.
Hey, different. This bike is different. Oh, ¿cómo está?
¿De qué país?
Are you the only gas station in town?
No, cero. No hablo inglés.
No hablo English.
No.
We have a hard time talking then.
Ah. ¿Cuántos litros entra al tanque?
12. 12.
5 nomás. Y 7.
Cinco more? 3? Okay, 3. Perfecto. 3 will be perfecto. ¿Cuánto?
60.
60.
50 más 1, 60. Esto y esta.
Esta, oh, esta. Okay.
50, 60.
Sí. Gracias.
Muy bien. ¿Esto?
Gracias, señor.
Ya.
So that was 60 Bolivian dollars. Divide that by 5. That was $15 to fill that tank, which is not bad. That's a pretty good deal. Pretty good. 15 bucks wasn't too bad to fill that tank. So that's about the same price as Canadian dollars. Now that would have been more if I went to a gas station, because they charge us the same price. Well, no, that was about the same price as we would have paid at home. Looking over to the right, that white strip just below those mountains, I think that is the first glimpse of the salt flats. This morning I'm about to embark on a 2-day tour of the Uyuni Salt Flats in central Bolivia. We're just all packing up, getting ready to go. This is the group I'm going with, and that's the lady who organized the tour, and that young fella on the roof is just packing up all the gear. We're about to take off very shortly. This is the first stop on the tour of the Salt Flats. I don't actually think we're on the salt flats yet, but this looks like a train graveyard. All old locomotives and engines, cars. So let's go have a look. There are dozens of old steam engines here that have obviously been decommissioned and just left here to rust into the salt flats. Unfortunately, I can't give you much information on these old locomotives, as the guy gave about a 10-minute spiel on it, but it was all in Spanish. And my Spanish isn't that good, so I didn't get much out of it. Our second stop is at an area where they sell it's an artisan area where they sell all their souvenirs and trinkets and whatnot, trying to spend their money. But because I'm riding a motorcycle, I'm not really interested in buying anything because I just do not have a place to carry it. Well, we finally made it out to the salt flats after a couple of stops at a train graveyard and a place where you could buy trinkets and gifts and whatnot and souvenirs to tell everybody you were here. But here we are finally at the salt flats, the largest salt flat in the world. It was created from the two tectonic plates colliding and creating the Andes. And somehow a great big flat salt flat ended up at about 12,600 feet. It's a bit like sand. I thought that I could actually bring my bike out here and ride on this, but it is rough. And in some places it looks like it's very soft, so you'd sink in and it'd be like riding in sand. And, I'm not set up for that. Okay, so what we have here are volcanic gases leaking up from the fault line of the two tectonic plates. And the gases just work their way up to the surface. Now, the only time you can see them is when there's water here. Now, I'm not sure what kind of gases it is. And it's not hot. This is not hot water. This is cool water. But the gases are just bubbling up, and you can see it bubbling through the water. Here's another one of those pools where gas is bubbling up through the water, through all the earth, through cracks in the earth, deep in the earth, and working its way right to the surface. At first I thought, how on earth can these cactus be growing out here? But then, upon closer inspection, somebody just put them out here and planted them, because there is not a stick, a tree, a blade of grass, anywhere out here. There's nothing growing. We're going to be moving on to another area of interest, I hope. Unfortunately, my guide doesn't speak Spanish, but Sophie, one of the German girls in our group, is giving me a Reader's Digest version as we go along. Much appreciated. There was a time when the Dakar motorcycle and road races were here, but they've stopped doing it because it's too hard on the vehicles. The salt flats go pretty much as far as you can see. I can see a few mountains in the a long way in the background. These are flags that tourists have put up in front of this hotel that they built years ago. It's no longer a hotel. It's just a place where we're going to have lunch. But this hotel is built 90% out of salt. And I assume the 10% that isn't salt is the roof. And maybe the windows. But they're no longer allowing people to put hotels out here to preserve the nature. They don't want to turn this into a great big tourist center and destroy the salt flats. I'm entering into the eating area of the Salt Hotel. I believe this is the only active part of it right now, but it is pretty cool in here. As you can see, the floor is all salt, the walls are all salt. A few decorations on the wall that I assume that are part of the 10% that isn't salt. All the little sculptures are salt. The chairs that we're going to sit on are salt. Pillars are salt, holding everything up. And there's a wooden structure. The logs that are holding up the roof are obviously not salt. Yeah, this is very cool. Okay, this is lunch inside the Salt Hotel. And this is the gang that we're traveling with. This is Sophie, she's my interpreter, and that's Eva, she's from Colombia, and these three gals, I'm not sure where they're from because I don't speak Spanish, but France, our guide right there, has been very informative and telling us all about the salt flats. This is the only hotel out there, and it's no longer a hotel. All they use it for now is to allow the tour groups to feed their people lunch. They finally came to their senses and decided not to allow the salt flats to become contaminated with commercial operations. So let's go out and have a quick look at the outside. This is the outside of the hotel, and this is what it looks like. It's kind of weird. If you're from Canada, you'd think you were looking at snowbanks, but those are piles of salt. And I think they kind of use that as a barrier to keep vehicles from parking too close to the hotel. As I said earlier, this is no longer used as a hotel. I had this thought that I would bring my motorcycle out here and go for a rip in the salt flats, but they said don't do it, you'll get lost because there's no reference points. Another reason I was told not to ride in the salt flats is that it's extremely hard on your motorcycle. It gets into the electronics and corrodes it very quickly. And that's the last thing I need is corrosion problems when I'm down here in South America. As you can see, the salt, when the water dried, it created these little patterns, for lack of a better word, in the salt flats. Now it's really hard, like I'm not sinking into this at all. I can ride my motorcycle on this, we've been driving on it. To a Canadian, this would be really slippery because it looks like a frozen lake, but it's not. Just had it explained to me is that these lines here is where the water is evaporating through the salt. About 25 centimeters below here is water. And depending on what time of year and how much rain has fallen, the water's at different levels. So right now it's about 25 centimeters below the salt. And the salt may vary from 25 centimeters up to 10 meters of thickness. We finally got away from the other tour groups and we are out in the salt flats with just our group. Just the three chicas, the Irish girl and the Colombian gal and the guide. But it is very cool to be out here all alone. Now the entire surface of the salt flat is water. You've driven about probably 35 kilometers further into the salt field where it's almost all water on the surface. You can have some fabulous reflection photos. This has been an absolutely magnificent day out on the salt flats. This is so much more than I expected.
No se separe mucho.